have with me two distinguished panelists. One is Aaron Wheeler. He's the broker owner of Oakville Properties in San Francisco, California, a highly competitive and significantly luxury-focused market in America. Joining us also today from DocuSign is Jon Martin, who is one of their sales representatives, but he also focuses on supporting real estate brokers at delivering DocuSign signature solutions in the marketplace today. So today's webinar should be highly informative. The goal is to help real estate brokers who are considering their digital strategy for electronic signatures and digital signatures to become more informed about all the benefits of it. And we're going to learn a lot from Aaron about how he's deployed it in his company. He is one of the few real estate brokers in America today who mandate complete digital signature on all documents that they use in their company. It was certainly not an easy decision to make. It's not easy to communicate the benefits to the agents. It's not easy to force agents to do something a new way when they've done it a different way before. But he's managed it. So with that, I'd just like to welcome Aaron. And are you there, Aaron?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Excellent. So do you want to flip the screen and we'll begin?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and do that. So thank you, Victor. Jon Martin here with DocuSign, and I work with a number of brokers across the U.S. Regarding DocuSign and really evaluating e-signature and transaction management. Very excited to work here today with Aaron Wheeler and really kind of gauge how digital signatures work in his business, how transaction management is working, and really looking at a couple of overarching themes. And we're going to have a lot of questions and answers with Aaron today. But some overarching themes are really, there are cases where agents are not adopting new tech tools. And, you wonder why. As a broker, you wonder why we've spent so much money on this system or that tool that was promised to be delivering value. And in the end, it's just on the shelf. It's not utilized. It's not adopted by agents. It's not used in business. It's not producing a return on your investment. And a couple reasons on the screen that are just not intuitive, not easy to use, learning curve, and kind of the mentality of if something's not broken, well, don't fix it. If something you have, a system you have is working, whether it be paper or other, let's go with that. One thing that we do see here to kind of set the stage in the digital space. So every day I talk about using e-signature to increase business productivity and then eventually adopting a digital workflow in business. And the things that we really see at DocuSign that are driving that are mobility. The fact that mobile devices are exploding. Everyone has 2 or 3 devices now, their computer screen, their iPhone, Android, their tablets, and these are causing your customers, your end clients, to want to do business wherever they are on whatever device they're using. That doesn't work well with paper, and so we're seeing a tremendous uptick in people interested in this field. Another element here too is that agents coming on board these days are really looking. They're trained on technology. They've used computers and iPads since they were kids, and they're really looking to utilize a digital business process that would be more intuitive for business. So a couple of questions I had for Aaron, really to get into the meat of this presentation. Aaron, why did you invest in DocuSign, and what has been the impact that you've experienced so far?
Jon, thank you very much for having me today. I would have to say that without question, we use a lot of technology tools, but without a doubt, DocuSign is the single most important tool that we use today. So much so that it's mandatory for all of our agents. The ability to get a signature on a transaction in a timely manner is absolutely essential. It can make or break getting something closed. And to have the right tool to be able to do that, and that tool for us is DocuSign, is absolutely priceless.
Excellent. Great to hear. With that, there are many e-signature solutions out there in the market. I think that brokers are bombarded every day with different things to invest in. What really made you want to utilize DocuSign as far as for your brokerage, standardizing, mandating e-signature usage?
I think there's a variety of different reasons, so I'm going to discuss it from two different perspectives, looking at it from the agent perspective and looking at it from the broker perspective as well. From the agent side, I look at it from an ease of use and simplicity perspective. It's very easy to upload the documents into the system, to apply where the signatures need to take place, and send it off to your clients very swiftly. You can do that from your desktop, your iPad, or your mobile device. Furthermore, in California, we do have the benefit that it is integrated with our form system, so therefore, as our agents work on their contract documents, they are able to send off a complete package from within the form system and have it automatically apply everywhere that needs to be signed, dated, and initials. And that's fantastic. But really from a broker perspective, to me, is really the most valuable. Real estate is about risk management, and DocuSign is a very valuable tool in helping me manage that risk. I'm able to actively see my agent's pipeline of transactions. I can see what deals that they're working on. I can see where we can have any potential contractual issues coming up and able to address those swiftly before it turns into something else. So that's extremely valuable. I also find the templating capabilities of the system very important. I also operate a mortgage business as well. We deal with a lot of documents, and we need to be able to have those signed and move through the process very quickly. So we're able to take standard forms such as a loan application, an IRS request for tax transcript, and have those all electronically signed by our clients. And we save time because the system intelligently recognizes those and is able to apply the data where it needs to be.
Excellent. Is that something you find that DocuSign does much better than other solutions out there, or more flexibility for your business?
Absolutely, because leveraging the intelligent document recognition capabilities of DocuSign, the data on our forms are changing, but it has the intelligence to be able to recognize what different forms are and automatically apply the correct places to sign and date on that document. And I have not seen another solution in the market be able to do that.
Excellent.
Just a follow-up question to that, Aaron. So in San Francisco, I know that one of the features of forms that is available through Zip Forms is the form solution provider, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so, and that's DocuSign is integrated into that. But in San Francisco, have they integrated data into the forms so that you can just pull a listing right into your forms through the MLS?
I have not taken advantage of that capability myself. I prefer to, and my agents simply input the data directly, but the real value add for us is that from within the ZipForm platform, we're able to have, keep in mind that in California, our contracts are very lengthy. We could be looking at having a signing package of anywhere from 25 to 30 to 40 or pages or more. So it's a very great opportunity for introducing error into the process. So having the ZipForms integration with DocuSign is extremely valuable from a risk management perspective, because we know and have assurance that it's going to be 100% correct every time, because a single missed initial or a single missed signature in any one of those documents can make the entire agreement invalid, and we can't have that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron. Excellent answers, by the way. Definitely hear the value of DocuSign there. And as we move through the presentation here, just really looking at different aspects. As you're the president and managing director there at the Oakville Group, definitely you see the whole picture. You see what the agents are struggling with. You see the compliance needs. You see everything that's going on in your business and the bottom line as well. So looking now kind of at a different segment, pitfalls for the broker. When you're looking at technology, it's a big world out there. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of noise in the marketplace. So the last thing you want to do is spend, however much per year on a system that agents aren't going to use. Your goal is increasing the revenue, is increasing the time you get to spend with agents coaching, is increasing their productivity, is basically building a stronger and growing business. A robust business, even making sure that you don't have those compliance issues. So oftentimes brokers are a little dissatisfied with technology in the past because it hasn't delivered on promises. It has that we are going to do X, Y, Z, and it's left you, hey, where did we go from here? So kind of on the same bent there. Aaron, tell me a little bit more about your story with DocuSign and what made it a good template for purchasing effective technology solutions that really impact the bottom line and give you a performance increase there.
Absolutely, and I can summarize that very simply and tell you a story around that as well, is that it just works. It just works. And let me explain what I mean by that. You're looking at a solution that costs us a couple $100 a year per agent, but its ability to enhance our bottom line from an ROI perspective has been exponential. And I'll just give you one example of that. We pride ourselves in providing a luxury experience to our clients. I think that's absolutely essential from a marketing and client satisfaction perspective. So to be able to differentiate ourselves, we need to get things done quickly and do it in a manner that is going to make our clients very happy. So I handle transactions myself. I'm actively involved in the process and had a situation in which we were responding to a counteroffer in which my clients were going to get the house if they agreed to the terms within the next 2 hours. And if they agreed within that 2-hour time frame, then it would happen. If not, then they were going to move on to another party. Here's where DocuSign made it happen. I was on vacation. One of my clients was in Europe, and another client was in Asia. All parties to the transaction. DocuSign made that happen. We were able to get the signature in an hour, and my clients got the house. And that was $1 million listing. So you can do the math on that and see that DocuSign pays for itself over and over and over again.
Wow. Yeah, that's impactful. $1 million off of a software product there. That's good job. Well done.
You require your agents to use DocuSign. Does the brokerage pay for it, or how do you work that out with your agents?
I do. As a broker, because it's so valuable to the business, and from a risk management perspective, it's so important to have visibility into what they're doing. And that also serves as a training tool as well, as I'm able to identify any potential issues that may be taking place and be able to proactively address those before they escalate into something else. So yes, I build it into my budget, and I do provide that as a value add and differentiator to my team.
So one of the things that we're beginning to see, we all, in addition to owning RETechnology, we own a consulting firm called the Wave Group, and Wave Group works with a lot of large firms to look at not only the technology solutions that they're deploying in the market, but also to look at the marketing and other services provided to the agent to support the consumer in their business. And one of the things that we see shifting across the nation is brokers allowing agents to focus more on marketing, and brokerages are focused more on back office and transaction management tools. Is that something that you're seeing in San Francisco? Is that something you're embracing in your brokerage there?
Absolutely. I'm certainly seeing that is becoming the trend because we want our team to be able to differentiate ourselves, and it's important to incorporate the marketing element as well. But I look at it as providing a complete bundle of services to our agents in a unique manner to differentiate ourselves and provide an excellent experience not only to them but to their clients.
Do do you see that making a difference in your recruiting and retention
Absolutely.
strategies?
Absolutely.
I mean, it really does make a difference when agents go across town to or consider moving to another brokerage. They begin to add up all the things that you're providing to them and what their expenses will be on those items. It must be pretty significant.
It certainly is.
Aaron, John, here, one follow-up question on the kind of the marketing piece, actually. Many agents that I've spoken with in the past love DocuSign because their clients love DocuSign. Do you find that it is a name brand there in the industry that people trust and kind of adds to your marketing element, either from a just pure marketing or from a recruiting standpoint?
It certainly does, and we incorporate that into our marketing material. We have a very elaborate buyer and seller book that we provide to clients when they first begin working with us, and we do highlight the tools that we use to create the experience for them. And DocuSign is definitely one of those tools that is highlighted.
Perfect. Did you find early on that when you were first introducing electronic signatures to consumers, they were a little shaky or concerned or scared of it?
I think that they were to begin with, but I think that over time they have started to adopt it. And now with the recent changes in the mortgage industry, it's become mandatory. Banks, and I just had this happen to me the other day. We were in the process of working on a transaction, and the bank required the electronic signature certificate from DocuSign to prove that the signatures were authentic. And there was an audit trail associated with that. And the underwriter asked for DocuSign. So that's how valuable DocuSign is.
John, can you explain that in a little more detail for folks on the phone that don't necessarily understand what Aaron just said, because I think it's really important for brokers to really appreciate.
So the DocuSign is the most robust as far as capturing an audit trail of an e-signature. And what that kind of means in simple terms is that an e-signature is really the intent to enter into this contract. And so we're capturing every bit of detail about that intent. We're adopting an electronic version of a person's signature. So it doesn't have to be the exact look of their signature. It doesn't have to be pen and ink. It's an electronic representation, but we capture IP address of the device used, time and date stamped down to the 10th of a second, GPS location. With our iPad app, if you sign in person, we can even capture a picture of the person signing the contract. And so we are very, very focused on security as a company. As many of you know, we work with many Fortune 500 companies out there. With our signature product, as well as in the real estate verticals, insurance, healthcare. These guys have even more concern, believe it or not, around privacy and information security than the real estate industry, and they've all vetted and used DocuSign due to the levels of security and compliance that we have in the audit trail and so forth. Victor, is that a sufficient answer there for you, or do you think we should go a little more in depth into the verification process?
No, I think you did a good job. I mean, it's just it's important to understand that, you know, if you just look at the law, I think it's called the Digital Millennium Act. Is that right?
The e-sign Act, actually.
The e-sign Act, which I think was signed by during the Clinton administration. I mean, really, it's just really within the last year or so that every state has actually adopted that federal recognition of the e-sign laws, right?
Well, it's crazy. It was signed back in 2000, so we're going on 14 years of e-signature available, but there are some states, I believe some of New York, that came on board around 2011 or 12. And so I believe all 50 states are fully compliant. Many provinces in Canada. We just acquired another company in Brazil to expand e-signature in Brazil. I know I've met a few realtors from Brazil at our conferences, which is always exciting, and I'm just waiting for the time we'll launch out there. It is growing worldwide.
Yeah, is there a place on DocuSign's website that shows your compliance with the e-signature laws outside of the continental United States? Because I know you guys are an international company and that different governments recognize these signatures differently?
Yes, if there was a call for that, I could definitely provide information around that. I think we're used in, I think, 122 countries right now.
Okay.
As far as on a more of a one-off basis, the law varies so much. So if you get into China, the law is going to vary from if you're in Japan, if you're in Sweden, and so there's so much variance that we are ramping up our legal team sufficiently to go and find how we're going to adapt e-signature, so we're going to use it worldwide. That's our goal.
But all the real estate transactions in the United States are governed by U.S. law anyway. So even if somebody's signing in China, like the example that Aaron gave earlier, it's a valid signature. You don't have to be in the continental. You don't have to physically be in the United States to sign it, right?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes a case by case, but for the most part, yeah.
So maybe the takeaway is that if you are doing international business using DocuSign, call DocuSign's help desk for information if you need it. And you guys are the only company that I'm aware of that does that. I don't think that any other company that's providing these services in residential real estate has reached beyond the borders of North America.
You're correct in that, yes. And we also have our platform is so robust that we have a warranty of compliance, essentially, that I think over 52 million people have DocuSigned something worldwide, contracts, whatever, maybe in industry or in real estate, and never has there been one overturned in court. And so much so that if there was a case down the line where DocuSign was used correctly in accordance with law and there was contestance of that, we would actually go to court to defend that based on the situation, because we put so much effort into the legality of these signatures.
So Aaron, just out of curiosity, I know that DocuSign translates to a whole bunch of languages, like 150 languages or something like that. Do you ever find yourself using that functionality when you're dealing with, I know that there's a huge Chinatown in San Francisco. I know the Hispanic community in San Francisco is pretty significant. Do you find yourself using that functionality to serve your clients better, or are your agents using that functionality to serve customers better?
Unfortunately, we do not, because the contract documents are all written in English. So even if the technology is able to handle different languages, the clients are still looking at English language documents. So we still need to overcome that issue if it is one.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, good discussion. We'll move on here to another segment that I wanted to cover. Really looking at the evolution of the product, kind of looking at the time saved, the money saved, where the rubber meets the road, as it were. One thing we do at DocuSign that many other companies don't do in the e-signature world is we look at return on investment, or ROI. And we have actually a tool by a company called IntelliCap, which is a third party. We use in our enterprise and then real estate companies as well. And we really look at the cost, a fixed cost level for your business, as well as the cost that we could increase your revenue by increasing your productivity with electronic tools. And really had you'll see it on the screen, a couple of examples there, but really wanted to get into some conversation here with Aaron on what he's seen. Aaron, you've been very successful in running a brokerage that fully embraced technology, moving to a fully digital process. What were the drivers that really led you into that fully digital process, and what were the concerns kind of going into that?
Absolutely. So I believe in running an organization that focuses on our core competencies, and our core competency is to be able to market our clients' luxury properties and to effectively represent buyers in being able to purchase those properties. So that's what we do. So everything else is secondary. So it's very important to me that I not have to create, build, or invest in any type of IT infrastructure or support infrastructure to run and manage all of this technology that we're using. That's absolutely essential. It has to be anytime, anywhere, and it has to be cloud-based, and there has to be other support channels available other than having to build an internal team. And DocuSign is a key example of how we make that happen. How have our customers and our agents responded to that? Again, it's priceless. Just to give you an example of that, just closed a transaction. Our title companies are now starting to embrace electronic signatures on their documents, more so now. So we just completed a sale where the seller did not sign a single piece of paper except for the deed, which still requires and must be signed and notarized, per county requirements. But other than that, at closing, they were only presented with one document, and the rest were handled through DocuSign. And that's a pretty incredible experience.
Wow, that's a huge win. I love hearing those kind of stories. And so with that, as far as just in the industry, you've been doing business for a while with DocuSign. Have you seen, it sounds like the adoption, the usage is just increasing rapidly. We've seen the whole market in real estate really shifting to these technology tools. And also, I love how you said that you don't have to invest in IT resources. You just get the DocuSign because we are software as a service, cloud-based. But have you seen that really a lot more interest in adoption around that, the model that you've already been using?
Sure. I think a lot of that has been driven by the banks with all of the legislative and regulatory changes that have come out of Dodd-Frank. The banks want to have a higher level of confidence in the transaction, and with the security and audit trail and compliance tools that are built into DocuSign, it provides them with that comfort level when they're going to sell that loan off to their investors or the GSEs. So that's absolutely critical. And as I discussed earlier, they will ask for the transaction certificate from DocuSign to prove that has been done. It's also been exciting to see integration with products such as DocuSign Transaction Rooms to be able to seamlessly move files from being signed into a transaction management platform so that we have an ongoing archive of the documents for record retention and to be able to share with our clients as well.
Excellent. Well, that is a great segue into a demo that I have prepared of DocuSign Transaction Rooms and DocuSign. Unless, Victor, did you have any other questions for Aaron or thoughts there on that matter?
No, one of the things that Aaron talked about that a lot of real estate brokers don't understand today is that DocuSign has an enterprise solution specifically for brokers. And Aaron mentioned this earlier. It allows the broker to go in and view the accounts of each and every one of their agents. And that is a very, very critical component of their solution that I think, do you call it Broker Plus? So I just want to make sure that you articulate that, because a lot of the solutions that are being delivered to real estate agents today is sort of puts the real estate agent and their customers in a silo, and the real estate broker can't peer into that silo until a deal is done. So once the deal is done, it gets sent to the broker for review, and that's the solution. It really isn't workable for brokers who want to stay involved in the transaction through the process. I mean, if you can't go in and troubleshoot during the transaction process to make sure that these documents are correct before they're signed, that you have the correct local area addendums and everything is in order before you go to signature, that's where the problems really exist today. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest transitions that we see brokerages in America taking today. So as long as you can cover that, I just want to make sure that that's clear.
I couldn't agree with that more. I take advantage of the tool to be able to look at my agent's accounts on a regular basis, and I cannot afford to wait to troubleshoot the deal after the deal is done. If we can identify an issue and proactively solve it beforehand, then having that visibility into the process makes a big difference.
Excellent. And I'll definitely go through the Enterprise Edition, the Broker Tools Edition here. And I just do want to say that our team, Glenn Shimkus, who many of you know, our VP of Real Estate here at DocuSign, as well as the development team, very, very heavy investment in the real estate vertical, very heavy investment in the product, and a lot of the features and things that have adapted and changed even over the last 6 months in our product have been a direct result of talking to brokers in the industry at our trade shows, talking to Aaron, talking to people who use the product, who've used eSignature for a while, and said we want to build up the compliance, security, the visibility into our business. We want to get more business done and do it digitally. So with that, ready for a demo. We will dive over here, and hopefully I'm still logged in my accounts. I will show two different views so we can kind of illustrate an agent working inside of a brokerage. What I'm showing you here, this is the brokerage tool. So this is the dashboard, the enterprise edition that will be utilized by business managers, by transaction coordinators, by brokers, by admins, who will set up a brokerage for success here in a digital process, utilizing the transaction rooms that Aaron referred to there. And then I do have another window here where I should have my, so I have my agent view here. And I will go ahead and shrink this down so we can kind of simulate what even a mobile view, so I can have my agent running this on his phone. You can kind of see a little drop-down menu here of all the pertinent items that he would need to conduct business on the fly. And really the vision is that the agent's out at dinner, he's running from between appointments, he's conducting business. We're sitting at the brokerage here and viewing business. We can do this on our iPad, on our computer. It's software as a service, so really all you do is log in, just like an email client, like logging into Hotmail. Just username, password, and we're on board. So what I've done here is I'm going to do a relatively quick demo. It's about 15 minutes. And so I won't be able to cover all the pieces of the tool. I do schedule additional demos for interested prospects out there. So if you're looking to dive more into workflow, into what this can do for your business directly, do contact me or my associates here. We will provide a no-cost consultation here for you. No obligation, just want to get to know you. So really this tool is about transactions. This view that you see here is an overview, a global overview of your business. And so we set up your business into a hierarchy. If you have 5 offices or 10 offices, not a problem. If you have multiple regions, not a problem. It's a very flexible tool, so we set up different regions for approvals in your company, set up different offices on an office level, and you might have different approvals individually by those offices, or VPs, brokers, presidents who can look into any transaction anywhere in the company at any time. Also, we set up checklists for you, and these are very flexible to be whatever needs to be as far as kind of a template for your users. Set up different titles according to your business. And again, a very flexible tool that our support teams, our new customer consultants, our account managers, we all work with you to strongly support this tool and implement it for your brokerage. So we'll circle back to the dashboard in a moment here, but I do want to show you the individual transactions. So each room, each transaction room is listed here and we represent a property. I did create a sample property here in San Francisco. Aaron can sell this one because it's $2.8 million, so that'll be a nice little pop for you there, Aaron. But we've populated some of the information here in the transaction listing view. So we can kind of put in a listing amount, dates that we have a listing, etc. We see that the current owner of this transaction is Jon Martin. He's a real estate agent. And we do see here, when we talk about compliance, there's the transaction room activity. So anytime you add a party to the room, add a checklist, remove a checklist, bigger picture items, they're recorded here automatically in the transaction room log. And then we can export this transaction activity log as a PDF document with results I've done so that we do have everything that would associate with this transaction. A little more on that later on a per document basis. We're very intent upon getting you full compliance. Now I've clicked on the Documents tab. Under the Documents tab, you'll see that I've set up a checklist, and this was a company checklist that my agent here is utilizing, and he's going to go ahead and upload the documents required for this transaction. He's going to add them here with this button, either from the computer hard drive or a variety of cloud connectors that we do have available. And I will point out that I believe we're the most progressive in the amount of connectors and integrations that we have as a product and as a company, just because we know that realtors are going to come from a variety of backgrounds. If you use Dropbox, You don't have to stop using Dropbox. You can just integrate it. Just type in your password and email once, pull them on over here into the company viewable drive, and they're going to have compliance and visibility from there on out.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second, John, to ask a quick question?
Sure.
So for you showed that a real estate brokerage can set up permissions and workflows by region, by office. I know that for a lot of brokerages that have multiple offices, they may have a transaction manager who is solely dedicated to one office, or they may have a transaction manager who's handling multiple offices. They may have another office where the office manager is managing the transaction and overseeing the transaction for the agent. In other words, the solution needs to be completely flexible to do that. One of the other encumbrances that we find with this is that given the location of the office, the set of documents and the checklists that you use differ. Are you able to support that as well through the document management environment? So if I have an agent who's in Napa versus an agent who's in San Francisco versus an agent who's in the East Bay, they see a different set of documents for transactions in those local market areas?
That would be definitely more on the workflow kind of questions. What I would typically say, just off the top of my head, is putting together different checklists that are very easy to create. And so I could say with Napa, sale, whatever I want to call this checklist, and I can put together a list of required documents that are just basically a template so that that agent knows what's required in this particular area. And then what I would say is that there has to be some intuition on the agent's part to say, okay, I'm in Napa, I'm going to use the Napa checklist. So it's not going to be an automatic differentiation of documents on a per office basis. That would definitely be, more of a future kind of looking feature. But currently what I would say is putting together different checklists based on different offices and then routing the approvals as such. So if there's different approvals for different kinds of documents, we could route those up to a regional level. If we had multiple offices in the San Francisco region, they were all needing to approve in a certain standard way from a certain individual. Does that kind of answer your question?
No, you answered it perfectly. So checklists are used by brokerages to create transaction business rules that can be adopted by agents in different market regions. That's perfect.
Yep.
I mean, you can understand that you go into a document repository and you imply that agents are going to select the right documents every time without a checklist, and you're going to see all kinds of mistakes.
Right.
It's real.
We definitely want standardization is a key word that we say every day. And kind of going off that too, before we dive back into the transaction room itself, I'll show you we have a company-wide document share folder, which kind of extends the concept. And you can, as a company, as a brokerage, if you have multiple offices, multiple people, set up different folders. So set up different folders, one for Napa, one for San Francisco, whatever it might be. And then in those folders, list different items or files that be pertinent to that region or that selection. And those will be accessible by your agents. So if I pull up my agent view here and go into my documents on my mobile device, I can say, oh, my personal folder, or do I want my company folder? Here's my company folder, and there we go. I can grab these, I can right-click it, copy it, and I can look at all my active transactions and send it right over to whatever transaction that I was working on here on that property. Scroll down, copy, and that's moved it from the company share over to my personal transaction. Again, visibility is key, and I will get notifications all throughout the process on the mobile devices. Even my manager can be notified when I'm putting documents in the transaction room so that he can kind of follow along for the compliance and just getting business done faster. So for the sake of time, I'm diving back into the transaction room. Forgive me if I'm going a little faster. I know there's a lot to take in. But really, I'm going to show you the approval process. So an agent would drag in a document to their checklist. Okay, we've attached a checklist item. We need a home inspection report, as identified here. Home inspection report. Good to go. Now, these two items are optional. I do have some notes about the property I uploaded, so I'll throw them in there. They can be captured there in the checklist. And I'm going to go ahead and submit this for review. So a pretty simple process. I'm going to say the property is sold, submit it for review, and that bubbles up to my manager now. And so what they will see is, since we're in the manager account, we'll go over here to transactions. take a look under Review, and there's our property that we just submitted for attention. What we're going to do now is, as a manager, we do need to go in and approve each document individually. And the reason there is, again, compliance. So when we click on the document, you'll see it's in red up here, Home Inspection Report, indicating it's not been approved yet. I can scroll through inline. I don't need to open this in another browser. We have inline viewing here. And then I can say, okay, we'll approve this document. Document approved. Got a notification on my phone as an agent. Okay, Mr. Martin, manager, has approved the document. Great. Now we'll go in and approve the second document. If I were to find this was missing a signature, or it was missing some important information, or there was an issue with this form, I would reject this, and it would give me the option here to put in a comment, missing signature. And I could send that back. The agent would receive that notification, and then they would have to resubmit it. So they'd have to remove it from the checklist, request that e-signature, which all happens in the platform, and then go ahead and resubmit. For the sake of time, I'm going to the documents are turned green, so I can be working with this file for a couple of days if necessary. I can be approving over a couple of days if I need to, or I can do it all at once. And then I can say, okay, approve the whole transaction. Okay, we're approving this one. That means it's going to be closed. You'll see the close banner pop up here. The transaction still exists in its full form in DocuSign transaction rooms. It just changes the tab where it lives. So you'll see up top here we have active, under review, and then closed. So under closed, here's our property we just closed. Here's all my listings or sales that closed. And then now, we can always go back into the property. We can look at what happened there. We can go into the document in the property, click on an individual document, and have a list of the activity of who looked at that document, when they looked at it, when they approved it. We have an Access tab here to share that document in a digital way. So if I need to share this document even after the fact, I close the transaction, but later Alex says, hey, I need to see that document. I don't have to download and email it, which I could do if I wanted, but I can just click this button here, and now he's been pinged electronically that says, hey, John shared this document, log in and view it. So I saved myself sending 30 pages of documents through the mail, faxing, downloading, etc. This is your tool palette, though, so if you ever did need to fax this out, I just hit the fax button. I have an e-fax solution built into DocuSign transaction rooms. Type in the number, send it. So we're able to do business with those folks who still want to receive paper. Compliance is king at the end of the day, right? They're the ones buying the house. So that kind of shows the quick approval process of a transaction, from the details, going through the documents, involving these individuals. These would be individuals, whether it be a loan officer, an office manager, home inspector, and I can always click on the individual themselves and share with them documents in my transaction room. It's a very simple and collaborative process that if I needed to, I can always request additional signatures as well. And so this is where DocuSign comes in. Many of you are familiar with DocuSign, and so I'd create an envelope here, I'd send it out, and then I would receive an invitation like this. Now we're diving into DocuSign, but it's generated through transaction rooms. You see that we are capturing the consent to use electronic records and signatures, a consumer disclosure, which is captured, stored on file, and available for your use later. Reviewing the document, signing, addendum here, a contract adjustment, adopting electronic signature, the legal verbiage saying that we're adopting electronic representation of our signature, and in accordance to the e-sign act, signing the document, very simple, confirming, and we're done. So from the client perspective, all the way through the process, very seamless, all digital, any device, and people love this. Now what happens when you sign that in a transaction room is ultimately it delivers the document back here with a nice big DocuSign seal on it, showing that's been DocuSigned and showing you that you can now attach that to a checklist, etc. So one final thought here. Now you saw we closed that transaction. Now we boosted our revenue here. So our 5 transactions have been approved in this period. for the Martin region, Jon's office, this month. This is going to be the analytics tool, the business intelligence that brokers and executives, management are going to use to really capture a picture of what's going on in my business. Are we trending over last year? How are we doing with new listings? How are we doing with transactions expired, transactions lost? And then where are our agents stacking up for performance rankings? So this is an overview. It's a digital process that once your agents do adopt DocuSign as a whole, as a business, and you're running your transactions through a digital process, the huge benefit is visibility, compliance, and the ability to make better decisions from a business standpoint. So we're not just saying, well, we know we have transactions out there, but we don't know exactly where they are in the process. We want to dial that in and really know and close more business as a result of knowing where business is, and then being able to push it along the process. So I'll pause for a moment. Any pertinent questions from Victor or Aaron you think that folks out there would really want to know about in the product just here in our demo today?
Yeah, Aaron talked about the audit trail. Can you show the audit trail on a completed transaction so people can visualize what he was alluding to?
Sure. Let me pull up my...
I know you're dealing in a fictitious environment here, but...
Yeah, let me pull up my DocuSign account real quick. And I'll show you one of the completed audit trails. Let's see here. Okay, so
Aaron, can you explain the situation that you had again with the bank?
Absolutely. So the situation being that we had a purchase contract that was signed by the builder, and it was electronically signed, and the banks are now requiring that it's not enough for it to be electronically signed, but they need to see the compliance and audit trail and certificate of completion associated with that so that they can see the trail of the entire process. And that's actually now a requirement of the GSEs, being Fannie, Freddie, and many of the private investors. So what Jon has up on the screen right now is a copy of the certificate of completion, which we had to upload to the bank, and then they were able to sign off on that particular condition. So we were able to move the closing forward.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron. And so that is something that DocuSign excels in and is far and above the leader in e-signature in this element. We do work with, our legal team works with banks, with mortgage companies on a larger scale to really push forward the usage of e-signature in the industry. Because some of the banks out there, they still do prefer not to use e-signature. It's not necessarily a legal thing. It's more of a preference thing. E-signature is legal in the majority of cases when it does come to these documents, and our audit trail is the most robust and the most trackable for their purposes, so they feel the most comfortable and secure with taking on that loan or that risk in an e-signed way. So definitely a great point.
Do you know of any big banks that aren't accepting these today?
Not off the top of my head. I don't deal on a daily basis in the industry. I have heard some pushback from smaller banks, but not necessarily. The larger banks tend to be right in line with where the industry is leading.
We're seeing the banks pretty much across the board accepting these. Pretty much all banks are ultimately, at the end of the day, selling off to Fannie and Freddie for those loan amounts that fit within the conforming or high balance conforming guidelines. So it's now written into the Fannie and Freddie seller guides the requirements for electronic signatures and what it takes to be able to accept those.
Excellent. And you're a mortgage originator as well, right, Aaron? So you
yes, we are also a mortgage originator as well, correct.
Yeah. Excellent.
Excellent. Well,
cool. So just to remind everybody that is on the call right now, we're going to move now into our Q&A section of today's GoToWebinar, and we're going to complete the recording. So we'll slow that down.